So, recently I wanted to make my good old quality videos again. You know, uh, just like now, or at least decent quality, as I would say. And, we are back! Why am I so hyped? I don't know. I don't know. But, yeah, that I would say, reacting to, I guess, rapper content. And with this one, it is, I'm pretty sure, Tay-k's Life is Over by Squid the Kid. So, let's get into it, shall we not?
Tay-k's been in jail for the past 8 years, and only recently he got sentenced to 80 years in prison. And even with credit for time served, his release date is in 2099. And
My question is, why? See, hold on. I know he been in the roughs, in the ruggeds, in the dog water for a minute. I said water twice. We ain't gonna talk about that. I know he been through, stuff. Um, but he's looking old now. Not like old, but he's looking grown. Like, yeah, like he was young, and now he got locked up when he was young, and now he's staying in until he's like dead. That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
he isn't going to be able to get out on parole until 2049. So it's pretty safe to say.
So hold on, I'm gonna try not to pause the video that much because it is a 10-minute video if I even stay that long. But that fuck what? What? They trying to kill him.
Probably never coming out. Now, first off, if you're not really that familiar with Tay-k's story, let's take it back to the beginning. Tay-k's childhood didn't really start off too well because both of his parents were Crips, and he grew up without a father figure for a while after he got arrested in a drug deal gone wrong. Tay-k's mom was actually able to move him and his sister to Las Vegas for a year until their dad got out of prison in 2009. The family moved to Arlington, Texas, and this is where Tay-k would spend the rest of his childhood growing up. Tay-k wouldn't start making music until in 2014, around the same time he was going to Martin High School. Around this time he started going by the name Tay-k47, but over the years he would just go by Tay-k for short. And he actually started a rap group with his friends called the Daytona Boys. And when Tay-k got expelled from high school for smoking weed on campus, this basically made rapping his only choice at this point. He got kicked out of his mama's house, so he was basically forced to live on the streets or stay at his friend's house at the age of 15. Tay-k and his friends were starting to get involved in the Dallas rap scene in 2015. They were out there doing interviews, doing shows, and also kind of robbing people because they were broke. And also apparently Tay-k got on stage with Playboy Cardi before he was famous. The Daytona Boys were on that underground grind, but they were only really known locally in the DFW area. But one night would change everything forever. On New Year's Eve of 2015, Tay-k and the Daytona Boys were going to a New Year's Eve party in Denton, Texas to go rap. After the clock hit 12 a.m. and everyone was done partying for the night, Santana Sage was driving home with Tay-k and Pimp in the back seat when they stopped at a red light. It turns out a couple of people from the same party they were just at rolled up next to them at the same light. Santana rolled down the window and started hitting on a girl in the car next to them, and apparently there was a dude in the car with her, and he told Santana he was gonna beat his ass. Santana pulled out a gun and let out a couple of shots. When he got the trial, he said he was trying to let out a warning shot, but unfortunately he ended up hitting the girl in the head, and that car ended up crashing off the side of the road. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Keep in mind, Tay-k and his friend were literally in the back seat watching their friend commit a murder. Santana Sage got arrested only days later, and even though Tay-k and Pimp were in the car with him, they actually got off scot-free because they were minors. But Santana Sage ended up getting sentenced to 44 years for that murder. But remember, Tay-k and his friend were literally able to just walk away from that situation with no consequences. The reason why I mention this incident is because this moment was what made Tay-k confident enough to start going down a life of crime. On top of the abuse he dealt with his father and getting kicked out of his own house by his mama, this was the nail in the coffin that finally made him snap. Later that year in July of 2016, Tay-k was one of 7 people that planned to rob a kid named Zachary in Mansfield, Texas. Apparently they were looking to rob this dude for some money and drugs. The mastermind behind this whole thing was actually Zachary's girlfriend. Everybody met up in an apartment the night of the robbery to talk about the plan. Zach's girlfriend was finna go with 2 of her friends to meet with Zach, and they told him they was just finna smoke. But what Zach don't know is he about to get backdoored by his own girlfriend. The plan was one of the girls would unlock the front door and everybody would come in and rob the house. Tay-k's job in the robbery was he was basically gonna look around the house for drugs and money. The girls came to Zachary's house around 5 p.m. and Tay-k and everybody else were waiting in a car down the street. Apparently one of the girls was supposed to send them a text message to give them the signal to bust through the front door, but they couldn't go through with the plan immediately because the house was packed. Tay-k and everybody else in that car had to wait for 5 hours for one of the girls to unlock the front door when no one was looking. After they sent the message, Tay-k, Pimp, and 2 other dudes bust through the front door. Tay-k and Pimp are looking around the house for stuff while 2 other people are holding Zachary and his friend at gunpoint. Everything got really tense in the middle of the robbery and one of the gunmen panicked and ended up pulling the trigger on Ethan. Zach also got hit in the shoulder, but he managed to survive, but Ethan wasn't so lucky. Tay-k never knew somebody was gonna die that night, and he only thought they were just stealing some money. And it turns out after looking throughout that whole house, they didn't even find nothing. And after shots were fired, Tay-k and everybody else just left the building, but everybody ended up getting caught. This robbery was the whole reason why Tay-k got put on house arrest in the first place. He was actually living with his sister in her apartment, and he was inviting his friends to come over and record songs. But this couldn't distract him from the fact that even though he was 16, they were gonna charge him as an adult. The stress of potentially getting a murder charge after being stuck in his sister's house for 8 months eventually made him snap. And one night he just went on Twitter to say he was going on the run. Tay-k cut off his ankle monitor and left the apartment in the middle of the night. After he escaped house arrest,
for some reason I kind of remember this. I don't know. For some reason I kind of do. I forgot when it was, but I kind of do remember this, which is funny. But yeah.
escaped house arrest, he was laying low for a few weeks in San Antonio with his friend Pimp. Just a month later, they planned to rob a photographer because they were really desperate for money. They met up outside a parking garage and they got him in a car. They were trying to rob him of everything, including his camera equipment. When they were kicking him out the car, that's when he started yelling for help. Tay-k was trying to run him over and the guy was holding on to the hood of his car. They pulled up right outside of Chick-fil-A and the guy stood up and started kicking the windshield. He managed to break it and this got Tay-k really pissed off. So after this, he leaned out the window, shot him, and left him to die. But what Tay-k didn't know was that everything that just happened got caught on camera. And eventually, this was going to be used against him in court. But for the moment, Tay-k and Pimp had a little bit of money and some camera equipment. A month later, Tay-k robbed a 65-year-old man at Cravens Park on the morning of May 25th, 2017. He told him to give over his wallet and pull out a gun. The old man tried walking away from him, but he knocked him to the ground. The man suffered internal bleeding.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. 2017 was 2017 was like when rappers were like kind of coming up. And then 2018, that's when it was popping. And 2019, they started dying. Damn.
Broken ribs. Around the same time, Tay-k and his friend figured out the cops were coming for them and they knew they had to leave quick. Tay-k actually knew some people up in New Jersey, so they decided that they were just gonna go drive up to New Jersey and lay low with some friends. They drove for almost 24 hours, but once they got to New Jersey, Tay-k was recording new music and he decided to make a song called The Race. He was rapping about the fact he was on the run from the police, talk about robbing, killing, shooting. He actually said free Pimp on the song because he got caught back in May. Tay-k was basically telling on himself throughout the whole song, and this was actually gonna come back to bite him in the ass. He dropped the song on SoundCloud, and for the moment it was only getting attention from his fans, but in the meantime the cops were still looking for him and he was wanted by police. Tay-k was getting on the news for this, and that was only the beginning. He recorded the music video for The Race for free up in New Jersey and the video was ready, but Tay-k decided to wait a little bit before actually dropping it on YouTube. The cops somehow figured out he was hiding out in New Jersey Jersey, so they started putting out wanted posters. And that explains why he was standing right next to his wanted poster in the music video. He saw that opportunity to shock the world. He spent the last couple weeks of freedom he had hiding out at a friend's house before the cops found him and arrested him. After 3 months on the run, he dropped the music video for the race the same day he got arrested. This was the perfect marketing opportunity because he knew damn well this would get on the news. The race went viral instantly. Not only was the song good, but what really blew the song up was obviously the insane backstory. The story of a 17-year-old rapping about being on the run from police shocked the world back in 2017, and the news of his arrest definitely helped his name spread even further. At the time, everybody was just figuring out who he was, so you had a lot of people saying free Tay-k without knowing he was about to be on trial for murder. In the middle of all this, Tay-k was actually able to sign a record deal behind bars, and the label actually helped him release a mixtape called Santana World, named after his friend Santana Sage. The tape actually had some success with other hits such as Murder She Wrote, Lemonade, and I Love My Chopper. Tay-k is actually the only rapper to ever have a song go platinum without performing it on stage. Even though he was getting all this success for his music, he was still in jail. For the moment, nobody knew what was coming up in the future, and there was a chance Tay-k could have been the next O.J. Simpson. In 2019, his trial finally started, and he was 19 at this point. He was on trial for being at the scene of the robbery that led to Ethan Walker getting shot and killed back in 2016. His lawyer tried his best to make Tay-k look good, but it didn't help that they figured out that Tay-k asked for his own gun before the robbery. They showed the music video and the lyrics for the race in court as evidence for what he did. On top of the fact that he admitted to being involved in the robbery way back in 2016 in that interrogation room, I'm pretty sure the fact that he cut off his ankle monitor and escaped house arrest didn't help him either. Tay-k was found guilty of the murder of Ethan Walker and got sentenced to 55 years in prison. Even though he never pulled the trigger, under Texas law, he was guilty of the murder charge because he was still involved in the robbery, and there was enough evidence to show he was there on purpose. After 5 years in prison, Tay-k was brought in court again to face murder charges from that incident outside Chick-fil-A back in 2017 where he killed a photographer. The trial started back in February, and Tay-k got sentenced to 80 years in prison. And even with credit for time served, his official release date is in 2099. And he's not even going to be able to get out on parole until 2049. So unless he's on his very
2099, brother. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, I don't even know what to say. 2099, that... Texas don't play.
very best behavior or somehow a miracle happens, he's probably gonna spend the rest of his life behind bars. Tay-k is the poster child of a misguided kid that hung around the wrong people. His abusive home life definitely pushed him out to the streets, but there is no excuse for the blood on his hands. He profited off of the death and destruction, the real life stories he mentioned on songs, and for that, he paid the price with his freedom. You only get one shot in this life, and sometimes you can't stop nobody from fucking it all up.
So, 2099. Yeah, hey, if you're still a fan of Tay-k, I mean, hey, 2099, he's still out. Not still out, but he's gotta be out. Hey, 2099, hey, get your charts, get your pins. Better check 2099. But yeah, I guess that's Tay-k's life is over by Squid the Kid. Yeah. It's been a minute, or been a good couple months since I made this type of content. And as you see, I kind of got, a little setup. But yeah, so yeah, that's that. But I guess if you guys want more of this content, yeah, let me know. Very bad at keeping it up. Yeah. See ya.
You promised you'd take me there again someday.